All right, welcome. Today we're jumping into a really deep, kind of tricky question from one of the world's oldest texts. How can the ultimate source of all life also be a figure of absolute, final judgment? It's a big one.
So on the one hand, you have the Old Testament showing us God as the creator, the intimate source of all life, who looks at everything and says, this is very good. But then on the other hand, you get God as this righteous judge, someone who can bring about just immense destruction. That's a real tension, right?
So let's really get into it. Is this a flat-out contradiction? Or are these two roles, creator and judge, actually two sides of the same coin? Maybe they even need each other to make sense. Okay, to figure this out, we've got to go back to the beginning. Let's start right where the text does, with the picture it paints of the creator, all the way back in Genesis. So, that first creation story in Genesis 1, it gives us this huge, cosmic picture. God is like this grand architect, totally transcendent, all-powerful. God just speaks, let there be light. And boom, reality just snaps into place. It's incredible. And here's what's super important, the final verdict. After every single step, the text keeps saying it's good. And then at the very end, it wraps it all up with this final declaration, it was very good. That's not just a casual comment. It's setting up a baseline. It's saying everything that exists has this inherent worth, this built-in order and purpose. But then, get this, just one chapter later, the whole perspective shifts. Genesis flips the script and zooms way in, from that huge cosmic scale to something incredibly personal and intimate. Suddenly, God isn't this distant voice anymore. Now God is a hands-on craftsman, literally forming the first human from the dust of the earth and breathing life right into them. I mean, you can't get more personal than that. This image just screams profound, direct connection. All right, so we've got this beautiful picture of an intimate, hands-on creator. Now let's flip over and look at that other rule, the one that seems like the complete opposite, God as the judge.
Okay, for this part to really make sense, we need a little bit of historical context. See, back in the ancient world, one of the main jobs of a king was to dish out justice. They were supposed to be like a mirror, reflecting a divine, cosmic order right here on earth. And the Old Testament, it presents God as the ultimate source, the gold standard for all of that justice.
And if you want to see what this cosmic justice actually looks like in action, the text gives us a pretty intense case study. The famous, and let's be honest, often misunderstood, story of Sodom and Gomorrah.
But this is where the story gets really fascinating, and it all happens before any judgment comes down. A human, Abraham, actually steps up and challenges God directly. He argues, he pushes back, he basically sets the terms. He says, you have to be a just judge, not just some force of random destruction. It's an amazing moment. And what happens next is this incredible negotiation. I mean, Abraham literally bargains God down, step by step. And God agrees to spare the whole city if just a handful of good people can be found. What this shows us is that this isn't some cold mechanical process. The judgment is actually rooted in a principle of justice, and it's even open to, a conversation.
Okay, so let's take a step back. We've got the intimate creator on one side and the righteous judge on the other. How in the world do these two seemingly opposite portraits actually connect? How do they fit together?
All right, this is kind of the aha moment, where it all starts to click. The text gives us three key ways these ideas connect. First up is legitimacy. I mean, think about it, right? If you're the one who designed and built something, you have the ultimate right to say how it's supposed to work, and to step in when it's broken. The creator role basically gives the judge role its authority. Then there's care. And this totally reframes what judgment is all about. It's not just about anger or punishment. It's about protecting that original goodness of creation from all the chaos and corruption that's trying to tear it down. It's an act of preservation. And finally, engagement. This shows us a God who isn't some distant clockmaker who just wound up the universe and left. Nope, both creating and judging are signs of a God who is deeply, constantly involved. So when you put all these pieces together, you start to see it's not really a paradox at all. You get a picture that's way more coherent and, honestly, a lot more compelling. So here's the bottom line. The roles of creator and judge, they're not at odds with each other. They're actually complementary. They work together. The judge is there to protect and uphold the very thing the creator made in the first place and called very good.
And this really brings home the core idea, doesn't it? The same God who gives humanity this immense value by creating them in the divine image is the same God who takes that value so seriously that people are held accountable for their actions. You could even say that the act of judgment is what affirms just how valuable that creation really is.
And all this leaves us with a final question to chew on. In our own world, where we're always searching for justice, what can we learn from this ancient model? A model where justice isn't just about a cold set of rules, but is deeply rooted in caring for and valuing the original creation itself. Something to think about.